Welcome back, Truth Soldiers. I wanted to share some things that are extremely alarming when you look into them because I have been preparing things for our life science classes. And when you are talking about biology, it's important to understand what the scientists today are doing and are capable of. And one thing we talk about with genetics is hybrids, putting one type of organism with another. Is it possible? What are the limitations? And even on this channel, we have talked about some things in the past that are mind blowing, especially when it comes to the Bible. When it talks about being grafted in, the plant of choice was the olive tree, and just how fascinating it was that this particular tree has 46 chromosomes just like humans. And so, of all the trees chosen for us to be grafted into, I believe this is extremely intentional. And if you're not familiar with what grafting in means, it's not a natural process. It's where you literally remove branches and put other branches in their place. It requires an expert gardener to do that. Probably why our Messiah after the resurrection was mistaken for a gardener. Imagine that. And so we've talked about these things. There's not just olive trees, there's other organisms on the list. If you look down, there's this nilgai or a blue bull, and how it has 46 chromosomes. Looks like a cross between a human and one of those could make a very familiar figure. But things are getting dark in the science world, or I guess the dark things are starting to come to light. They've always been there. And when it comes to the days of Noah, of course, our Messiah, he said that when it comes to his return, it's going to be like or as the days of Noah. If you guys remember that story, Noah was the conspiracy theorist until the floodgates of that firmament opened up. And here we are, knowing that the corrupting of all flesh has already been happening. We saw that when the entire world shut down, but it's getting worse. And as of, I think, about 6 years ago, actually around the time the world shut down, the irony here, when that was happening and they were corrupting all flesh worldwide, something else was going on behind the scenes. They were approving the scientists' ability to be able to create human animal hybrids. And I saw this in a little video. I thought, there's no way, if I check this out, there's no way it's true. But I looked into it and it's true. They've already done it. They've been making animal and human hybrids. And they always try to paint it out like it's for our improvements, it's to improve healthcare, to make these organs, for organ donations. And they're using animals to do this that are growing human animal embryos. And when you look this up, where did this take place? This happened in Japan. They're usually ahead of us with technology, and apparently they're ahead of us with this as well. It says in March of 2019, Japan modified its rules to allow for the research and creation of human animal chimeras for specific purposes, such as producing human organs for transplantation. But you notice that's plural purposes. Prior to this, Japan had a 14-day limit. So they could already do it. They just had 14 days on the development of such embryos and prohibited their implantation in a uterus. That was in the past. Now it says the guidelines removed this 14-day limit and allowed for the potential transfer of the chimera embryo to a surrogate animal's uterus. So they are taking these human animal hybrids, putting them in an animal uterus so the animal can grow this monster. And as I'm finding that out, I start looking for these experiments. What has happened? And again, 2019, what a year that was. You have the first human monkey chimera embryo created in vitro or in a dish, they say, allowing for in depth study of human development processes without the need for in vivo or in an animal development. The embryo was allowed to grow for 20 days. Quite some time. You can look at the embryo chart right here. Looked about like this in its development. And the research was led by Juan Carlos Ispizua, or however you say his name, Ispizua Belmonte. And here is a photo, they say, or an image, not really a photo, an image of the human monkey embryo with the human cells labeled in red. And so this is what they were doing back in 2019. Human monkey chimeras. I did not know they were doing that, and I should have known. This should have been something that I'd found out about earlier, given that I teach biology, and this was never brought to my attention. And humans and monkeys aren't the only things they are mixing. They're mixing other unclean animals. Pigs, for example, here's an actual photo of a human pig chimera at 28 days. Things that were happening in the days of Noah happening right now, just like our Messiah said. And it's really sad to see that because we are getting really close to the return. The enemy is doing so many things as they know their time is limited. They knew that when he was here. They knew they had a time, those unclean spirits, and they are making these monsters, and they are allowed to do that now. I can only imagine the things they are going to create because the same entities that created all the corrupt flesh before the flood, they are still around to this day, those unclean spirits. Of course, the fallen were bound, but the unclean spirits learned some lessons and they are teaching them to mankind. They knew how to do a lot of things back then, and they need approval, of course, now they say. And the guy, Juan Carlos, guess what he did? He asked Pope Francis back when he was alive for his blessing. And guess what? It said that Pope Francis personally blessed his cutting edge research to mix human cells into animal bodies. And this is at the Salk Institute in California. And these researchers, which I didn't know it was legal to do this in California, why would you be asking the Pope when you're in California? But it says Salk researchers argue that making chimeras with more human tissue could be useful for many things. Here's what they say: screening drugs before human trials. If it's part human, that's a human trial. Studying the onset of human diseases, understanding the earliest stages of human embryo development. Why don't we just study human embryos? Explaining differences between organs and different species. Like they're just writing stuff down to sound good. This stuff is things we could already do. We don't need to mix humans and animals to figure this stuff out. How's it going to help us figure out human development when it's a hybrid that we haven't had since the days of Noah? We've been making mixes and hybrids of animals. It's something that people do in captivity. Things like selective breeding with your lions and tigers, making ligers, these things, they don't have good lives. They grow up, we see what happens. They don't have the proper genetic mix. They don't have growth inhibitors. The liger ends up being too big to even move around fast enough to catch anything. So it has to be fed, has to be taken care of. And I'm sure that's painful on its bones. These things get like 15 feet tall. Hearts are oversized, having to pump all that blood. Extremely low quality of life. And we don't just do that in zoos. There's people that have been doing this. I saw it at the Ark Encounter, which I guess was kind of like a zoo. They had a zonkey, which is a zebra and a donkey coming together, making a mix. Got to have certain similarities, be of the same kind almost to do that. Like a donkey and a horse making a mule. Infertile. The mule is usually infertile, so there's usually problems. This thing can't go on and repopulate the field. And other things have also been happening. You heard about before, we talked about this in another video, the dire wolf that they allegedly brought back. And no, they didn't bring it back. They just genetically modified a gray wolf and named the puppies, the wolf pups, after Romulus and Remus, of course, the founders of Rome, or I guess Romulus was the founder of Rome. He killed his brother, kind of like the Cain and Abel story. Romulus kills Remus, and Mars was their father. That's why we have that obsession with Mars. And speaking of things that are dark, the other wolf was named after the woman in a show who is friends with a dragon. Khaleesi, if that's how you say her name. Never watched the show, but that is what they named these creatures after, these demonic breeds that they are bringing up in these last days. And so I wanted to point this stuff out just so you'll know what is going on in the false science world. They are actually corrupting flesh just like they did back then. It's not going to be a flood this time, but the firmament is going to open nonetheless. And this time it will be our Messiah returning. Hallelujah. And so all of these powers of darkness, the things they're doing, their desperations, going to come to a screeching halt. Enemy is going to be bound, I believe, for 1,000 years. But we have a lot going on right now. We are just now finishing our first week of live lectures, our second week of class with Creation Standard. It's not too late to join. We have the best of the best around the world. I'm telling you, I have never seen better groups of students in all my life. And I thought with last year's students, I'm like, there's no way we can top this. But many of them have come back and more have joined. Our numbers aren't as high as they were last year for whatever reason, but we have the best of the best. And this has been already a huge blessing seeing all the wisdom of these truth soldiers around the world. So if you want to join, it's not too late. Go to creationstandard.com and register, and we will get you started. It's a little slow with registration this year. It's been a little slower because I'm doing things that my wife did last year, and I'm finding out she's way better than me at handling those things, even though I'm trying. I just can't work at the speed and efficiency that she does. But that's because, when our Father made woman, he already had practice at making a person. And so they have some much needed improvements. And I am trying my best. So thank you guys for your patience who have been waiting. I just wanted to share this stuff so you can see that where we are in time is a significant time period. There's other things going on in the world spiritually, setting up things that are helping Revelation unfold even further. But we need to be ready for this next chapter. Be prepared for the first resurrection. And it's something that requires you to really seek and turn with all your heart, repent, change your ways, get into a relationship with the Most High and His beloved Son. It will change your life, and it's something you all need to do. We need to put both hands on the plow. And like the Messiah said, not word for word, but he said, anyone basically having both of their hands on the plow and looking back is not fit for the kingdom. And I think that has been me for all of my life. Two hands on the plow, but kind of looking back. And you can't plow a straight path for the planting of seeds if you are looking back. You're going to be zigzagging all over the place. You have a purpose in your life. You have been chosen. Follow those footsteps of the beloved Son, and it will be a blessing to our Father and to you and those around you. And so I thank you guys for tuning in. I'm hoping to come back again, doing some more lives as our schedule starts to open up a little bit. Still have a lot of work before us, but we are blessed to have you guys joining us. Truth soldiers around the world, we thank you. We love you. And we will be back soon. You guys are beloved creations of the Most High. We will see you next time.